Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Woki, and I'm back with another Fake Grand Order video. The wait for Draco is almost ending. The event is going to be starting very soon. The Lilim Harlot, aka the FGO Arcade collab event. It's going to be starting up pretty soon, and for today's video I'm going to be going over the events and all the new units that are going to be in it, which are the 3 ones, the free-to-play, the 4-star, and of course Draco. And that's going to be today's video. I expect it to be a very long one. It's already taken me like 5 different restarts to get the beginning intro of this correct. So if you want to show support, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It does help a whole bunch. Feel free to tell me how much you've got saved ready up for Draco. I can guarantee you it's more than I currently have it because I wasted a good amount of mine on Tiamat. I was going to say Draco, but no. I used them on Tiamat. But I'll still have some ready to go. So, let's get right into it. So, we actually know when it's going to start. They had already announced beforehand that there was going to be a stream, but when they released all the pre-release stuff with Tiamat, they just decided to say, hey, it starts on the 28th. That's when we're currently planning on it. That likely means that we're going to enter maintenance on the 27th to go alongside the stream, and then at the end of the maintenance, it will be open up, and then it will be the 28th, and then people will be able to play the game. In theory, unless there's so many people waiting to summon, the game just stops functioning, which is, I don't know, a possibility. That's why they have it currently as planned. That's why I think it has it anyway. Otherwise, they would just give us a straight up date. But in case things go completely wrong, because a lot of people are waiting for Draco, there you go. Now, in terms of the event itself, to participate in it, all you need to do is have cleared Fuyuki, and you do have to be wary about the story itself if you have not caught up to Lost Belt 3, because there will be some spoilers of Sin inside of it. What the spoilers are, I don't know, because I also don't know the story of this. I didn't look up anything because I wanted to read it for myself and not spoil anything, so I just didn't read anything about what the story would be about in that 2 years' time. The type of event it's going to be is a mission-based one, which I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go down the line, but in terms of the summary of it, it's pretty basic. It's the same event schedule as always. On the on launch day, you can expect the prologue, the main quest 1, Act 1, and Act 2. And then on the 28th, it's Act 3, 4, and 5. On the 29th, it should be Act 6 and Act 7. On the 30th, it should be Act 8, 9, and 10. On the 31st, it should be the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And then next would be on April 1st, 14, and 15. It's a very long event. And then on April 2nd, it should be 16, 17, and the epilogue. So, very long event. Get ready for it. Because also mission events can also take a while to get through as well. And we'll go to the next slide here. In terms of event bonuses, any unit that was ever in arcade gets a bonus of some kind. For the main big ones, which is 100% attack and 50% bond bonus, it goes to Setanta, Kid Ku, which I'm going to call him from this point on. Kid Ku, Locusta, whatever my brother calls her, Locusta, I think. Tiamat and Draco. Those are all going to get 100% attack up and 50% bond bonus. For 50% attack and 20% bond, that's going to go to Caster Gilgamesh, Jack the Ripper, Berserker Ku, Jacques de Molay, and Prototype Merlin. And then all of the other arcade units that were released in arcade at some point, those get 30% attack and 20% bond, except for MASH, who gets 30% up to damage and 5% bond points to all allies. So something to keep in mind as you use MASH in the back. Sometimes MASH doesn't have this, which is very annoying because it's very nice when you are bond farming to have MASH not take up much space as someone in the back that you can just kind of use and then also give 5% extra bond bonus. It annoys me when she doesn't have this in most events. But I guess in most main story events, MASH hasn't been participating in it, so I guess it makes kind of sense. In terms of the event rewards, we have Kid Ku, as we can see here, who's going to be the Welfare Saber. I'll go talking about him a little bit more when I talk about all the servers that are going to be in it, including the banner ones. I'll go over him, but just know that he's a Welfare for this event. There's going to be event Craft Essence, as always, which is the Song of the Cradle, which is the 5-star CE, which gives Arts and Buster 8% NP gain, 5%, and then at the start of battle, 30% NP gauge, with it being obviously 50% when you max limit break it. And then also for the events, an event damage bonus of 100%. For event command codes, there is a 5-star romance that is in the spear that's in the spear, which deals 50% to Roman enemies when attacking with the engraved card, and then also gives them the Roman trait for 5 turns. 4-star, the Omniscient Clay Tablet, which gives the engraved card 5% NP gain rate and 30% star acquisition rate. And then the 3-star is the Azure Spiriton's Command Seal, which gives the engraved card 5% crit damage. And then when you attack with it, you can apply critical chance down by giving them critical chance down of 10% on the target for a single turn. Almost bangled it up at the end, but those are the event command codes, the event CE, and the welfare for it. Next, there's another part here which is called Command Supports. Command Supports are the various FGO arcade units basically helping out in the story. You get them as you progress the story, and then when you finish missions, you'll also get them or gain levels for them. The command supports provide various effects to command cards that are randomly distributed for every fight, and you can see the effects in-game. You can see here, they're all there, they'll all be random. That's as far as I'm aware of what I could find about them. And I'll leave, I guess, some of the bottom ones in case you want to be a little bit surprised. But surprise, Draco, Tiamat, and at least Common Mistake. All of the guest FGO arcade units will be in there. And then next, strengthenings. A lot of units are actually getting strengthenings with this. It's kind of crazy. Jacques de Molay, which gets Innocent Monster A to A+, when normal attacking inflict curse status, 3 turns on target before damage is applied, 3 turns. It's a new effect. Gilgamesh Caster, which will get King's Return A going into EX, charges on NP gauge, a new effect, and then charges party's NP gauge. My cat Lucifer getting hyped for Gilgamesh Caster. Nightingale, Angel's Cry EX, goes into, I guess, Super EX, or EX again. Increases one ally's critical damage of buster cards for 3 turns, that's a new effect, and then gains some crit stars. Mordred gets Mana Burst A, turns into the Knight of the Crimson Thunder, A+, increases on buster performance for 3 hits, 3 turns, it's a new effect. Increase on buster critical damage up for 3 turns, new effect. Increase on attack for 3 turns, and then next is Nero Claudius. She gets Imperial Privilege EX, turned into Imperial Privilege Applause EX, increase on arts performance for 3 turns, new effect, and then gain 10 crit stars every turn for 3 turns. And then next we have Lancer, Alter, Saber, or Saber, Lancer, Alter, or Artoria, Lancer, Alter, however you want to call her. I just call her by the silly name I like to call her. Charisma E turns into Wild Hunt A, which increases own damage against enemies with the lawful alignment for 3 turns, and then also increases own damage against enemies with the good alignment for 3 turns. And those are all the servant strengthenings that are going to be there. Nice for them to get a servant strengthened up. I don't have much else to say about them at the moment. Just know when there's this many, it's just nice to get them up and running. I look forward to maybe using some of these for silly videos down the line. I actually have my Nightingale super built up because I was playing in the Merlin meta without Merlin, and I made do with Nightingale because she gets, I think, 50% up to busters on one of her skills. She doesn't give any NP, but neither did Merlin really. Yeah, Angel's Cry gives 50%. Gave 50% for 3 turns, baby, over 5 turns. That's crazy. Okay, then next. Inside the event shop, the gold material drop is the Medal of the Ruined Country, the silver is the Crown of Decaying Leaves, and the bronze is the Rose of Annihilation. You need 3,930 medals of a ruined country to clean up the gold medal shop, and then inside the shop we have 2 of the event CE, a single lore, 16 packs of 10 Kid Ku coins, 10 dragon scales, 10 of the Cursed Beast Cholist? I forget what to pronounce this. Cholist? Cyst. The Cursed Beast, whatever the thing these things are called. 20 of the Warhorse Horns, 30 Obsidian Edge, 20 Lancer, Rider, and Assassin gold statues, 1 HP gold info, 1 attack gold info, 1 code remover, 10 packs of the 10 evocation feathers, and then you can trade in QP of the remaining gold material that you have at the end if you are continuing to grind after the event is over, or maybe you just had so much of the gold material that you are just able to continuously grind like that. And then next we have for Crown of the Decaying Leaves, which is the silver material. We have 1 event CE, 1 lore, 16 packs of the 10 Setanta coins again, 20 of the Bloodstone Tears, 20 Phoenix Plums, 20 Crowns of Radiant Silver, 30 Octuplet Twin Crystals, 20 Lancer, Rider, and Assassin Silver statues, 1 HP Golden Foe, a Code Remover, another 10 pack of 10 Invocation Feathers, and then finally for the last one, which is the Rose of Annihilation, we need 3,600 to completely clean up the shop. Inside of it, we have a single event CE, 16 packs of 10 Setanta coins, 20 Aurora Steel, 30 Homunculus Babies, 30 Stingers, 30 of the Dragon Fangs, 30 of the Bullet Gunpowder thing, 1 Attack Golden Foe, 20 Silver Attack and HP Foes, 55 EXP, 104 EXP, 103 Silver EXP, and then 10 packs of the Evocation Feathers, and then I guess if you have any excess bronze, you can trade those into silver, and similar to silver, I didn't mention it, if you have any excess silver, you can convert them into gold, and there you go. In terms of the main quests, there are going to be 22 St. Quartz. You can see here they're divided into main quests part 1 and part 2. This one's up to 10 and this is the remainder of them. I won't show them off specifically just in case you want to be surprised about whatever happens in there for various spoiler things. Like I said, I've avoided a lot of the story stuff, so I don't even really want to take a look at it and see what's happening. I just want to kind of see how it goes as I go along. Now, the free quests that will be opened up alongside of it, you get more of the free quests as you clear certain of the acts. As you can see here, these open up when you clear Act 4, 2 out of 2, clear Act 5, clear Act 6, clear Act 7, 2 out of 2, clear Act 8, and then clear the bottom of the Oblivion Still Unknown. You clear the various acts. And then finally we have, not finally because there's still more to go through. I shouldn't have said finally. Next we have the mission list. And this is where I'm going to try and explain what a mission event is. They're pretty basic. They're not as hard as I remember from when I was playing back in the day, but they can be a little bit tricky to certain people. All you need to do is that you need to beat enemies of a certain type until it's complete, or complete whatever they say to complete. In this case, for example, the first mission is just clear Act 1, and then to unlock this you have to beat clearing Act 1, so you'll just automatically start with this completed. But you can see here, clear Act 2 is this mission number 2, and to get this one, you have to complete mission 1, and then to unlock the next one, which is clear Act 3, you have to complete mission 12, and from mission 12, you can see it's defeat 45 Shadow Servants, and this unlocks Act 3. They're all usually pretty basic stuff. If you want a more detailed look into what to do, you can ask for it from me, and I'll try my best to do one that makes sense. But the way I usually handle these is that I look at the event and then I see which of the free quests I can grind to get it done, and then I just do it. It's really simple. You just look at the enemy drop list, you see if it's available to you. Like, you just see, like for this one, for example, it's just literally clear three quests. I think it gets a little bit more complicated if you want to maximize stamina efficiency to save as much as possible, which is something that is completely different and something that I don't really do because I have a buttload of apples. But again, if you actually would be curious of something like that, you can feel free to ask about it. But for right now, just to make sure that this video doesn't have a random 20 minutes in talking about, alright, here's the best place to farm the chickens, we're gonna move on. But again, feel free to talk about it, to ask for it in the comments, and then I will do it. But I have to actually see someone request it, and then I will get on it. The challenge quest doesn't open up until you complete the mission 100, and then you've also had to have completed Solomon, which is the Singularity Solomon, the end of the Singularities, I should say. And then you'll do a challenge quest. I don't want to say anything specific about it because, again, I think a lot of the fun of the challenge quest is usually not knowing what to do and then just kind of reading the rules and then figuring it out, which is what I usually do for videos and I record. So I try not to look up ahead how to actually beat it 1-to-1. They usually provide you with rules on how to do the fight, and from what I've understood from this one, from when I asked a friend about it, saying, so how rough was this one? He said basically you really should read those rules. Pay very close attention. It's a long one. At least in his experience. These are supposed to also be very high difficulty things. If you want to be that person who's like, I just need the best strategy, those already exist online and you can look for them. If you're that desperate for the single lore, you can do that. And there you go. Oh, I forgot to mention, in the main quest there should be 22 St. Quartz. Between them. I don't remember if I mentioned them or if I just showed here's the main quest, but that's the thing I was supposed to say. There's 22 St. Quartz in these two right here, along with a bunch of other materials. And then now, let's talk about the banners, the summoning campaigns, because believe it or not, there are actually 4 banners, but there's likely more to be coming. Just remember that we should be having the Spring New Master campaign sometime near the end of March, so that will include a regular Merlin banner at some point if you want to keep that in mind. But I'm just going to be showing the ones that we know for certain are coming for Lilim Harlot. Again, I did it again. Lilim Harlot. I would be paying attention to the stream that they're going to do and see if they make any mention of it, because I bet that's where they mention it. I'm actually very curious to see what they're going to talk about in that stream. If they're already coming out and saying, hey, it's weird to go into a stream already knowing the date of the event and stuff like that, but I'll be curious to see what they're going to be doing. But anyway, the big bad, the main girl, the power, the reason we're all here for the season, it's of course Locusta. She's going to be here, 4-star, along with Sodom's Beast / Draco, who is the 5-star, who is our first beast unit in NA, and it was also the first beast unit in JP. They currently have 2, so it's not the only one. But for NA, this is our first one, and the rate up craft essences are all the ones that are already in the Tiamat banner, which is Great Mother, which gives more of the gold material, Mushrooming, which gives more of the silver material, and Service Games, which gives more of the bronze material. Terms of the next summon banner, also these summon banners come out in the intervals of 3 days, so 3 days after the launch of this one. I assume this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a Lady Avalon, Jacques de Molay, and Gilgamesh Caster banners, as you can see here. Crazy stuff to be releasing. And then next after that, it's going to be Skahawk and Nightingale. Why didn't they give Skahawk a buff? Not that she needs one, more that I would like one so I can keep using mine that's high bond level, but whatever. And then finally, the last summon banner that should be related to this event, unless NA decides to add a new one, is the one that features Mordred, Artoria Lancer Altar, Jack the Ripper, and story-locked Nero Claudius, which is the Saber version, and the OG version as well, the one with like 5 costumes or so. And there you go. Now, let's talk about the new units. Those are the banners. Let's talk about the new units. Should you summon on these banners, I guess I should say here at the end, if you already are going for Draco and have gotten Draco, then you can do basically whatever you want after that. Lady Avalon is extremely good to have. She can be supplemented with Castoria, and she gives something that Arts typically doesn't have, which is a bonus to hitting with crit damage, which can be nice. And like I said, she doesn't really replace Castoria in any way, because Castoria is busted, but she can provide something that she doesn't, which is cool. I like Jack the Molay. I never see anyone talk about her, but I think she's neat. Summon 3. I really like Skahawk. You should not be summoning for Nightingale unless you are just such a huge big fan for her. Then go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Skahawk I really like as a single target Lancer, but I've also seen other people downplay her a whole bunch and say she's actually not that good. I still think she's really good. She can do a lot of damage, and literally for me, she's old reliable. I bust her out whenever I need to take down something that is a huge boss that's annoying to me, and if they're archer, she's already killed them. And again, you probably should not be summoning for Mordred or Jack the Ripper, but if you're a big fan of, actually funny enough, Artoria Lancer and Nero Claudius, because both of them are story locked, it's a big pain in the ass to actually get the medals for them. So if you're a big fan of them, and you already are done with your summoning for a Tiamat, for Draco, and you're like, whatever, I have everything I have set aside for Anniversary, then I guess you can summon a little bit on here to see if you want to test your luck. I wouldn't do it personally, but I know there's crazy people dedicated who will do it, so best of luck to you if you decide to go for it. So, let's finally talk about how good these new units are, and we're going to go back and start with Kid Ku over here. Sorry, I just cannot pronounce his name right. Setanta? Setanta! I think he says it right here, actually, if I listen in. Let's hear what Kid Ku calls it.
じゃ、ひとまず仮契約だな。セイバー、セタンタだ。
Setanta. Yeah, I'm calling him Kid Ku. Setanta. Kid Ku it is from this point on. Kid Ku is, of course, like I said, an event servant. He is a saber. He has 2 quicks, 2 arts, 1 buster. 4 hits on the quick, 2 hits on the arts, 3 hits on the buster, and 5 hits on extra. His active skills are Knight of the Red Branch B, increases his own attack for 3 turns, removes own debuffs, and then gains crit stars. 20% to attack, 20% to stars on a cooldown of 5. Second skill is the Hound Slayer A, and over on the JP version this does get buffed, but for us it's going to be in this base form, which is an increase to own damage against wild beast enemies for 3 turns, increase on quick performance for 3 turns, 100% damage up against wild beast enemies, and the quick up is 20% on a cooldown of 5. His third skill is the Shadowland Arms Mastery B+, chance to increase on critical damage for 3 turns, chance to increase on critical star absorption for 3 turns, and then grant self-evasion for 2 attacks over 3 turns. The crit damage chance is 100%, and when it's at level 10, the crit damage up is 40%, and if you get it, the absorption chance is 100% at level 10, and you'll get 400%. Basically makes it so that you want to get him to level 10 to get rid of the RNG of this ability, in which case it's just guaranteed, which I feel probably at that point they probably should have just cut out the crit chance, but the chance part, but what am I? What do I know? Maybe some people just like the RNG. Cooldown of 6. Passive skills include Magic Resistance B and Divinity B. His third append skill is an anti-assassin attack damage aptitude, and then his noble phantasm is the Kraden Setanta, the Shining Blade of the Cleaving Death. Rank B+, it's quick, it's anti-unit, it hits 5 times, ignores evasion for 1 turn, activates first, deals damage that ignores defensive buffs to 1 enemy. At MP level 1, his damage is 1,200, and if you get him all the way to 5, he is 2,000, which you should get him to 5, because he is a welfare unit, and he is free. Reduce their defense for 3 turns is his overcharge effect, which unfortunately doesn't look like it applies first, because it would say so. At charge level 1, it's 20% to defense, and if you get him all the way to charge level 5, it is 40%, and that is Kid Ku. How is he? Well, first of all, he's a welfare, so you should always get them no matter what. If you're a brand new player, it'll be nice to have a quick single target unit that you can use, especially for someone who did not have Karna, Santa Karna, which is usually my go-to. He's not gonna set the world on fire on anything, but if you ever need a single target quick unit for saber quick unit, then it's nice to have one, especially for a lot of these harder fights that have insanely high HP thresholds. It's kind of nice to have him for that reason, and especially if you're someone who maybe didn't have Castoria and doesn't have Vich, and you're someone who actually started with having Summer Scotty, so you're all quick focused. It's nice to have him if you don't already have Karna, which is the main issue I would probably have, is that unless you are specifically fighting for unless you're specifically fighting against a wild beast, it feels like it's just better to use Karna, but I still think he would probably be able to do a lot of damage. This also does get buffed enough a little bit later on, which is nice. It just doesn't happen at the moment, so it would be nice. And it also looks like, I was wondering how much his NP charging was like. It looks like he maybe needs a little bit help, which is why they buffed him to be able to give himself, grant self a buff on attack buff for 5 turns over 3 turns. 5 times over 3 turns, which is just charging your own MP gauge by 10% when attacking, which should help a whole bunch because occasionally quick servants can run into the problem of not having enough NP gain. So he's free, you can use him for big single target attacks, and for this event I'm sure he's going to be extremely useful, especially with the bonus damage stuff in there like that. I look forward to him. I really like Ku. I really like Kid Ku, even though I cannot pronounce Setanta. I do like Kid Ku a whole bunch. So I was super happy to see that he was the free unit for it. I got unbelievably hyped when they showed him off 2 years ago, and I'm obviously looking forward to building him up and using him for the events here. So that's Setanta, or Kid Ku, however you want to say his name. I know someone's going to get bothered by me saying the name like that, but I'm sorry. I apologize. I have a habit of making people hate the way I pronounce names. Speaking of people hating the way I pronounce names, Locusta, which is how I'm going to be pronouncing her name. How does she say it? I bet it's exactly the same. I bet it's almost exactly the same. What? What do you mean you don't say your damn name in your opening intro? No, it's right there.
召喚に応じ参上いたしました。ロクスタです。
Locusta dest. That's Locusta. Yeah, I'm saying it right. Locusta. Locusta, she's limited, and because she's related to the Lilim Harlot event, it means that it's going to be a big pain in the ass to get her. So if you get her while trying for Draco, be very thankful, because it's hard to get these units who are collab units when it's not featured on there. The only one that isn't hard to get is the one that was featured on the Case Files one, which they made her always available, which is nice. But yeah, Locusta. She has 1 quick, 3 arts, 1 buster, 4 hits on quick, 3 hits on arts, 3 hits on buster, 5 hits on extra. Active skills for the first skill is Poison Compounding A+, inflicts poison for 5 turns to all allies. That'd be insane. Inflicts poison for 5 turns to all enemies, increase own arts performance for 3 turns, and MP generation rate for 3 turns. It's 1000 poison damage with 30% to arts, 20% to MP rate on a cooldown of 6. Her second skill is the Robust Health Poison A, grants self gut status for 1 time 3 turns, reduces own damage taken for 3 turns, grants self poison recovery buff for 5 turns, converts own poison damage to HP recovering, revives with 2000 HP, and the damage taken less of is 500 on a cooldown of 6. Her third skill is the Cooking Mushroom B, charges party's NP gauge, grants self a debuff on attack buff for 3 attacks 3 turns, inflicts poison with 500 damage for 3 turns to enemies with normal attacking, and then 500% chance to inflict poison with 1000 damage for 5 turns to self. That's a demerit, which obviously you can make into a bonus when you use it to heal yourself. The MP increase is 20% and the cooldown is 6. Her passive skills are Present Concealment B and then Mental Pollution Poison D, which increases own poison debuff success rate by 20% and then also increases own debuff mental debuff resistant rate by 10%. Her append skill for the third skill is an anti-saber attack damage aptitude because she's out to get Nero. And her noble phantasm is the Finis Fungus. When it comes to sacred food offerings, it's mushrooms. Rank C+, anti-unit / anti-army. It is an arts noble phantasm that hits 4 times, inflicts poison with 500 damage for 5 turns to 1 enemy, activates first, deals damage to 1 enemy, deals 100% plus 15 times N extra damage to enemies with the poison status, N poison status stack count, max 10 stacks, and then inflicts toxic status for 5 turns to them, increases poison damage on them by 100%. MP level 1, it's 900% damage, and if you get it all the way to MP level 5, it's 1500. And then our overcharge effect is an increase to own arts performance for 1 turn, activates first. At charge level 1, it's 10%, and if you get it all the way to the final charge level, it is 30%. And that is Locusta. She has 1 gimmick, and it's all based around poison stuff. So if you're a big fan of using units with poison stuff, then that's a very neat unit for you to use her with. I'm not someone who usually uses a lot of units with poison things. Funny enough, I think it's more cursed for me because 1 unit that I have uses it a whole bunch. But thanks to that 1 unit, I've learned to not underestimate units that deal bonus damage when you have a certain stack of things on it, because you can end up doing a lot of damage if you work hard enough to work into their kit and do stuff like that. That's about all I have to say for her. Again, it's a nice bonus if you're going for Draco. Obviously, it is not the main focus, and if you're someone who's like, I hate Draco, should I just go for Locusta? Probably not worth it for that case, but if you're someone who's already going for Draco, I don't think you should feel too bad about Locusta unless you absolutely hate the idea of using something with poison damage. If my brother is lucky enough to get her, he said that he planned to make a video over 2 years ago talking about Locusta and poison damage, so I don't know if he's prepared anything for that, because he still has to do the main troubling thing, which is pulling the unit in question. But if he does that, then look forward to that video whenever it comes out. And that's also the reason why I haven't done much looking into it, because I also want to see what he cooks up with it when it's time. But that is Locusta. And then finally we go to the last unit, which is Draco, which is the reason for the season, the reason why we're here, the reason why you clicked on this video and you've suffered listening to me talk for 28 minutes as I've mispronounced multiple names. Sodom's Beast / Draco. This is, of course, a limited servant. She's the Beast class, which is, I guess I'll explain a little bit more when we get into it, but I think it probably should explain a little bit downward. But if it doesn't, I'll explain how the Beast class works. She has, also, I guess, through stage 1 through 2, she's considered a child servant and then loses it on stage 3 for a very obvious reason. She has 1 quick, 1 arts, 3 buster, quick hits on 5 hits on quick, 4 hits on arts, and 3 hits on buster with 5 extra. Her class advantage and disadvantage. Okay, so every beast unit has a different. To be fair, every beast unit, we've only had 2, but both of them have had different class advantages and disadvantages, and these are Draco's. She has advantage against all of the original 7 classes, which is Berserker, Saber, Archer, Lancer, Rider, Caster, and Assassin, but she has disadvantage against all the extra classes, which are Ruler, Avenger, Moon Cancer, Alter Ego, Foreigner, and Pretender, with the only one being neutral being Shielder, I believe anyway. Unless I accidentally read Shielder here. Shielder just might not have a bonus against anyone besides Berserker, though, for all I know. I thought it was here, but I guess no. I guess all other classes that are not affiliated here, which would literally be, again, Shielder, it's just 1. It does take bonus damage, doesn't deal bonus damage, it's just basic. But yeah, that's Draco's specific gimmick, is that. For class advantage and disadvantage. In terms of her active skills, Number of the Beast C increases own MP gauge every turn for 6 turns. Increases own critical damage for 6 turns. I love the flavor on this so much. Reduces own damage taken for 6 turns. The literal Number of the Beast. MP regen at level 10 is 10%. The crit damage up is 30%. And the damage taken lowered is 1000. And unfortunately, this is on a cooldown of 7. They were so close. They were so close. Second skill is the Aurora Poculum, the Golden Grail C. Seals all enemy skills for 1 turn, inflicts burn for 3 turns to them, and 500% chance to charge their NP gauge by 1. This is a demerit. Increases own attack for 3 turns, and then grants self the Holding Grail status for 3 turns. A note here. Holding Holy Grail grants extra buffs from Sodom's Beast, Draco's 3rd skill, and is treated as neither a buff or a debuff. The burn damage she gives them is 5,000, which is a lot of fucking burn damage. And then the attack up is 40%, and the cooldown is 6. Her 3rd skill, 7 Beast Crown C, increases own buff removal resistance by 100% for 1 time 3 turns. When Self is holding the Holy Grail status, increase own damage against dragon enemies for 3 turns, increase damage against the Roman enemies for 3 turns, gains critical stars every turn for 3 turns, grants self debuff immunity for 1 time, increase defense for 3 turns, increase own healing received for 3 turns, increase owned MP gauge every turn for 3 turns. When holding the Holy Grail versus dragon damage is 40%, and the same is true for Roman. The Holding Holy Grail star regen is 10, the Holding Holy Grail heal rate is 20%, the Holding Holy Grail NP regen is 20%, and this is on a cooldown of 7. So her cooldowns are actually 7, 6, 7. Could have had it all, but not at the end. Her passive skills are Authority of the Beast C, which increases on critical damage by 10%, Independent Manifestation E, and then the Nega Messiah EX. I don't know why I so crazy blanked on that one. Increases on debuff for success rate by 500%. And her pen skill for the 3rd is an anti-caster damage attack aptitude, because trust no one, not even yourself, in a swimsuit at some point. Her Noble Phantasm is... come on, don't fail. Tongue, don't fail me here at 30 minutes in. Her Noble Phantasm is the Babylon Damus Aurora, the Ingurgitation Golden Theater. Rank A, anti-army, it's arts. It hits 8 times. It deals damage to 1 enemy. That's the only thing on its first effect, which I've complained about the units having this in the past. But then at MP level 1, it's 900% damage, and at MP level 5, it's 1,500. But the reason that this doesn't have anything more here in the front is because the overcharge effect is deal extra damage to the 7 Knights Servant enemies, with our charge level 1 being 150%, and if you get her all the way to the final charge level, it's 200%. And that is Draco / Sodom's Beast, or Sodom's Beast / Draco. How is Draco? She's really good. She's a single target arts unit with, funny enough, a whole bunch of buster things, but I'll talk about the things I like about her in particular. 1, the fact that she has bonus against literally all the 7 Knights Servants. This should also be very specific. It says 7 Knights Servants. I don't know if I said that or I just said enemies. But that means that if you're literally fighting any servant from the original 7 classes, she just always has type advantage against them, and so many of the dudes we fight in this game are one of the 7 knight servants, and it's usually very rarely an extra class unless we're doing something fancy to show off a brand new unit, like for example when we had Pope Joan and we wanted to show her have type effectiveness against one very specific extra class. Then they had a boss like that, like Moon Cancer. They had it there, but for the most part, you're usually fighting one of the 7 knight classes as a boss of some kind. And as such, she's able to do a whole buttload of damage to them. The negative thing about this is that it's only the servants that she does bonus damage. So if you have, you'll always have type advantage against one of the 7 knight classes, but you won't have the 150% extra damage unless they are a servant, which can be a little bit of a bummer if maybe you only have her at MP 1, because you'll randomly see it. That's where you'll really see the effect of this only having a single effect on it, which is the overcharge, is that part right there, is that maybe unless you build her out to be like, again, assuming you have MP 1 and you haven't crazy built her out, maybe she'll fail a little bit on the damage. Which, you know, it happens, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is in that case. Very unfortunate in that case. In terms of the other stuff about her, so I really like her as a unit, but then I also just really like that they had a lot of fun. This Number of the Beast thing is enough to make me want her. Just the idea that they're like, no, she needs to have a 666 skill, and it's her first skill, I feel is very well done. I like this kind of mechanic of the idea of, like, she's a beast and she's on purpose making the enemy stronger, but then it also just makes her stronger. It makes it feel a lot more badass in my eyes of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna burn you, which by the way, this burn of 5,000 is a lot of burn damage to give to someone. But just the idea of like, I'm gonna charge your NP gauge by 1 and I'll still be fine, even though this also seals all enemy skills. Obviously there's ways to play around this as well, like if you have a lock on them to prevent them from gaining NP gauge, or they already have max NP gauge, and obviously that doesn't matter. Or you're doing a 3-turn thing where your first enemy you're fighting is going to die, so you don't have to worry about them ever doing their Noble Phantasm. Then it all works out for you at the end. But the idea that this also builds up her 3rd skill, which gives you a bunch of bonus damage and bonus effects for having it, I think is really cool. The bonus against Dragon and Roman is really nice. Roman in particular, because that means you can also have a lot of good... you can have a very silly team of bonus of fighting against Roman dudes, because obviously Boudica gives allies bonus damage against fighting Roman enemies, which I believe is 60% bonus damage against fighting the Romans on her first skill, and I believe on the 2nd skill she doesn't have anything about that. But then we also have the Romulus, who can make people just straight up Roman. 500% chance to inflict the Roman trait debuff to all enemies. Just straight up make them Roman. And then we also have that new command code that you can also give them, so that on one of her attacks, she'll apply Roman to them, and she'll be able to have that extra damage. Again, probably very gimmicky to a lot of people, but I still think it's really neat and really cool. So that is Draco. I think she's really good. I don't know if she would be the problem that we're having, not the problem I'm having, is that we're about to get a really, really, really good single target arts unit in Summer Castoria, who is a single target berserker. So Draco is really good, and she'll be able to help in a lot of other things. But if all you care about is pure power, then that is something to kind of keep in mind. I also think that probably doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What they did is that they made a Draco unit who's very good, very cool to have, very fun to use, and I think that's what matters the most to me. Oh, another thing that's actually nice, she has Chaotic Evil, so she can be used with the most Chaotic Evil asshole of them all, which is... where are you, Doman? There he is. Doman! So she can also be used alongside Doman if you want to go the Chaotic Evil route, which is very fun, which is giving increased attack to Chaotic Evil enemies, and then also giving them crit damage. Very cool, especially with 2 of these dudes, putting them together, that's 100% crit damage, stuff like that, and it increased to attack as well. Fun, good, silly teams like that is all what the game is about. At the end of the day, I think FGO you should go for the units you care about most, and this one is really hard. Like, if you try and tell someone not to summon on Draco, I don't know. This is literally the first beast unit in the entire game. So many people have been waiting for Draco. Just the idea of, like, not summoning on him for some silly reason, like, oh, one unit is just slightly better. It just feels so facetious, but if I don't mention it, someone's gonna talk about it, and then even then, me bringing it up is gonna make someone angry. So just know, at the end of the day, I don't think any of that matters. I bring it up because if I don't, someone will yell at me for not bringing it up. But God, I want Draco. So the next thing to talk about, I already think it's worth going for Draco. Why? Because I think she's a cool unit. But there's another reason, which is the unfortunate, uncool part about being a beast. Beast units are very hard to get. Because Nasu said he wants to make these basically beast units extremely hard to get. And then also, you can't summon for her on the regular GSSR, which is the discounted one that's 15. You can only get her on the 30 paid quartz one, where you have to select a unit, and if you select her, you're also missing out on a lot of other cool extra servants, but that's neither here nor there. You have to select her through that way. Why is it like that? It's because they said, for in-lore reasons, they didn't want a beast unit to feel like they wanted to feel like you're specifically calling out to them, and they didn't want it to be like a random happenstance like the GSSR for 15 St. Quartz, which is a very nice bullshit way of saying we wanted a new rarity of unit without making a 6-star, because we knew people would freak out if they saw 6 stars. So what they did was make Beast extremely limited. And there probably is some cool lore implications that you can use with that to make them like make sense, which again, I think it does make sense for beast units to be these kind of rare beasts, but at the same time, it does mean that you're super highly pressured to get them while you can. So if you're a big fan of Draco, you love Nero, you've been waiting for this unit, you really only have this chance and the next chance when this event gets rerun later. And then, other than that, you'll have to shell out 30 St. Quartz and hope that you land her correctly on the GSSR thing. It's very unfortunate. I wish it wasn't like that. It just is like that until further notice. Maybe for the 10th year anniversary on FGO, they can be like, actually, let's reverse that. That's a very stupid thing to have. Especially because if you want to go for later on, Summer Ereshkigal, she's also a beast. So if you miss both of them, there's no singular banner in which you can get both beast units potentially. You have to pick between one and the other. And I don't know, for me, I feel like that's an added stress in my life that I just don't want to deal with. So it would be just better for me to be able to pull the unit on their first go around. I don't know my chances of actually getting Draco while her event is around. I feel like it's very limited, actually, especially where it's currently nestled. But I'm going to try my best to try and get for her. I wish you all the best of luck going for her as well. And that's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. This ended up being as long as I thought it would be, but also somehow not as long as I thought it would be. If you made it all the way here to the end, thank you very much. I appreciate it a whole bunch. You have no idea. Especially when a lot of the times I have to, tiredly after work, get these done in on time and upload them at super late o'clock to get them done, and then also deal with other stuff and wake up. I appreciate it a whole bunch for you guys supporting the channel, watching these videos, leaving likes, commenting, or even just watching is good enough for me. And that's the end of the video, everyone. You'll likely not see another FGO video until it's actually the summon time for Draco. But I'll still be working on some other ones in the background. And I also do plan to do the playing through of the event and stuff like that. So, that's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Best of luck. And until next time, peace out. Bye.